Today I decided to give you guys a ranking of the Toy Story franchise. This is a franchise that I grew up with, and it's one that I have always enjoyed. There are 6 films in this ranking, and I own all of them except for 2. I don't own 4, although I did order it, and I don't own Lightyear, but I have seen both on streaming, so when I get to those, I'll just hold up another one of the movies. So without further ado, I figured let's get started and rank the series from worst to best. Starting with Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, The Adventure Begins. This was more or less just a prequel to the TV show Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and they actually got Tim Allen to do the voice for this one. I even love that they included little advertisements for Toy Story 2, coming to video and DVD, October 2000. A very interesting little movie. It's basically just like a 3-parter pilot to the TV show. It's not bad. It's actually relatively fun. I actually do like this show, and I grew up watching it a lot. But it is what it is. It's just kind of fun little adventure where Buzz has to train some of these new recruits and go up against Zurg. It's not bad, and I haven't seen it in many years, but I do remember liking it. And if you're a fan of the TV show, you probably will like the movie as well. That's pretty much all it is, though, as a pilot, and so it couldn't rank very high on this list, but still fun. Up next is, well, Lightyear. I don't own the physical copy of this movie, but I have seen it on streaming, and it's okay. Later Pixar outing, so it's not really expected to be that great. I think Pixar has kind of fallen from greatness in more recent years. They still do pump out an occasional really good one, but for the most part, I think Pixar has kind of lost their way some. And the new Lightyear movie is kind of that. It's not bad, mind you. It basically shows a movie that exists within the Toy Story universe that has a real life Buzz Lightyear going up on his adventures, and there's time travel, and Zurg is in the movie, and there's actually kind of a cool reveal of who Zurg is in the film. I won't give it away here. But unfortunately, there's just not much going for this film. Lightyear is okay. It stars Chris Evans this time as Buzz Lightyear, and it's fine. It's kind of just a standard adventure with some fun stuff going on, but nothing really memorable. I think the best thing about the movie is probably his little cat that goes with him, who's like a robot. But apart from that, there's just not much I like about the film. It's okay. You know, if you have kids, they probably could enjoy it for like 90 or so minutes, but kind of forgettable and kind of a pointless spinoff that's baffles me that they even made, honestly. Coming in at number 4 is Toy Story 3. I actually rather do like Toy Story 3, and to me it's probably the proper ending to the franchise. And what I mean by that is everything wraps up here. Andy goes off to college, he gives his toys away to a new girl, and along the way they get into a adventure at a daycare. I do like this one, like I said, and I do think it's rather fun, but I do have my problems with it. For one, I don't like the villain very much, the Lotso character. He's essentially this pink bear, you can see here, kind of like a scratch and sniff kind of bear. And he's voiced by Ned Beatty of Deliverance fame, but we'll not get into that. And all in all, it's entertaining, but I think that my biggest problem with the film is I don't like the setting much. It mostly takes place at a daycare. Ultimately, I think that it's just kind of a boring setting. It's the most stagnant as far as locations go of the original trilogy. I like the character development here. I think Andy going off to college is sad. I think the final scene in the movie where he gives away his toys is a little touching. You feel yourself tearing up a little bit. There's a lot of stuff to like about the movie, but I do think the setting kind of lets it down. And of the 4 Toy Story movies that are strictly Toy Story movies, I got to put this one in last place. But it's still pretty good. And I do like it for what it is. And I consider it the true ending, I guess you would say, to the franchise. There's also a really cool Toy Story 3 video game, which I don't own anymore. I used to have, but I pretty much 100% of that game. It's really fun, and if you like Toy Story, I do recommend that game. It's rather entertaining. Up next, we have Toy Story 4. I know this is the first film, but I don't have a copy of 4. I actually did order one. I was hoping it would be here in time for me to do this ranking. But I do actually rather like 4. And I saw it in theaters and on streaming. And I think it's a kind of an improvement over 3. It's more like an epilogue. There's this new character named Forky, who basically is having existential crisis on being a toy, even though he was supposed to just be a spoon. And it shows them going to this carnival area right next to this antique store. So it kind of has 2 settings. So it's already, in my opinion, more interesting setting-wise than the 3rd film. Along the way, they meet this evil doll. She wants Woody's voice box so she can talk again and hopefully be adopted by this girl as a new toy. It's a pretty good plot, and along the way they actually run into Bo Peep, who was sadly missing from Toy Story 3, And I think her return is pretty interesting here. She's very capable and very fun and one-ups Woody a lot in a very, fun, bickering back and forth kind of way. But you can tell they really love each other still. It's cool to see Bo Peep back. I like the new setting. I actually think it's just kind of improvement over 4. We didn't necessarily need a Toy Story 4, but to me it works as a good epilogue. Whereas 3 was the ending to the series, Toy Story 4 is a perfect epilogue to that. I don't know how Toy Story 5 will fit into all this. Maybe it will fit naturally, or maybe it will feel forced. But I do think Toy Story 4, despite a lot of people not liking it, is a decent addition to the franchise, and one that I think does fit well within said franchise. Up next is, well, Toy Story. I really love the original Toy Story, and if we're talking pure nostalgia, this is the one to go to every time. This is actually the first edition DVD here, released in 01, and I even have the VHS around here somewhere. And I'm probably going to upgrade to 4K pretty soon because I do love this movie. And what can you say about this film? It was pretty much the first feature-length animated movie. Not the first film with animation, or even the first film with 3D animation. It was the first time they made an entire movie using CGI. And it's great. From the adventure, you have this. The movie's basically about this new character, this new toy in Andy's room named Buzz Lightyear. And Woody has to adjust to the new reality that Buzz is Andy's new favorite toy. And it's, pretty fun. You get to see these two go on an adventure and get separated from Andy due to an accident that Woody causes. And it's just a fun, it's a fun film about acceptance and change and how things aren't always going to be the same. And that's actually really interesting. Considering this is Pixar's first movie, they really came out of the gate swinging, and I absolutely adore the first film. It might even, in my opinion, be the most rewatchable. If I'm in the mood, I usually go for this one the most. But admittedly, it's not my favorite of the series, but it's damn close. I love the story. I love the characters. Tom Hanks is great as Woody. Tim Allen is awesome as Buzz. Don Rickles is great as Mr. Potato Head. Jim Varney is amazing as Slinky. May he rest in peace. And everyone else here is firing on all cylinders as well. A great voice cast through and through. Characters that I love, especially Ham. I think Ham is really underrated. He might be my favorite side character of the franchise. There's nothing not to love. All in all, check out this movie. You'll have a good time. It's great. But coming in at number 1 is Disney Pixar's Toy Story 2. If you actually do want to buy this film physically, I highly recommend this Blu-ray special edition here, specifically this one, because it's the only one that's uncut. What happened was later on, after the whole Weinstein scandal in Hollywood, they basically cut out a scene with Stinky Pete and the Barbies where he's basically offering them to be in Toy Story 3, which is a funny gag, and it's only in this version. But if you want to have the uncut version of the movie, of this G-rated movie, I recommend this version. I adore Toy Story 3. I think it's the best of the franchise. It has a story of Woody getting more or less kidnapped by this guy named Al, and they have to go on an adventure to rescue him and bring him back to Andy's house before Andy gets back from camp. It's just a great setup for a sequel. I think it has the best story of the 3, and also has the best locations. Not only do you have Andy's room, you have Al's apartment, Al's toy barn, fun elevator sequence, and it all ends at an airport with tons of luggage and baggage and other things that toys must avoid, and even ends with them getting onto a plane to rescue Woody. It's like a full-blown action movie with the stakes and everything is just completely one-upped from the previous film. It's Toy Story 1, basically, but on steroids. I love Toy Story 2. It has the best gags, and I think it's actually the funniest of the 4 movies, and it's one that I always find myself going back to. I highly recommend this movie. A great cast, very emotional scenes. There's even a scene with Jessie where you find out how she got abandoned by her original owner, and it still makes me tear up to this day, I hate to admit. The game even had a really awesome video game called Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, and I adore this game. This game is fun as hell. You get to play through the events of the movie as Buzz Lightyear and rescue Woody, your buddy, and save the day. I even love the game so much that I even have the N64 version as well. I just love Toy Story 2 and everything about it. And if you're a fan of animated movies or just animated adventures in general, you gotta watch Toy Story 2. In my personal opinion, Pixar's best movie. Well, that's my list. I know that some of Pixar's more recent movies have been kind of, lackluster, but I think when it comes to the Toy Story films, they haven't missed yet. I would say Lightyear was a bit of a miss, but that's not really a Toy Story film. I really love this series, and I will watch Toy Story 5 when it's released. I hope for the best, but I'm a little weary that they may have gone too far. 4 seemed like a good stopping point. But if there's another adventure with Buzz and Woody, I'll be in the theaters checking it out. This is a great franchise, one that I highly recommend, and one that, has a special place in my heart. I grew up with it, and it's still fun and entertaining to this day. It's great for families, it's great for adults, it's great for kids, it's great for everybody. If you don't like Toy Story, you're really missing out. Thank you all for watching, and peace out.